For number 1, we're asked to find the first derivative of the following function. So we have f of x equals x times e to the 2x power. So since we have x being multiplied times e to some power, we're going to multiply. So we are going to use the product rule. So that tells us if we're going to find the first derivative, we need the first times the derivative of the second. So the second is e to the x. So to find the derivative of e to some power, then you first of all write down e to that power. Then if the power is anything other than just x, then we also have to multiply by the derivative of the power. So the derivative of 2x would be 2. So here's the first, and then here's the derivative of the second. Plus the second, as is, times the derivative of the first. And that's pretty easy. X is the first, and the derivative of just x is 1. Here we're going to simplify this a little bit. So I'm going to write this as 2 times x times e to the 2x power. So all of those are multiplied together. Plus, and then 1 times e to the 2x power is just e to the 2x power. And you could simplify more than that, but I'm going to choose to just leave it as is. Alright, for number 2, g of t equals the square root of t times e to the negative 2t power. So in this case, we're going to rewrite, instead of writing the square root of t, we're going to rewrite this as t to the 1/2 power. Now, since the square root only applies to t, then it's only t that's raised to that 1/2 power, times e to the negative 2t power. So here we have a product rule again, so we have the first and we have the second. Okay, so if we find the derivative of g, that would be the first as is, times the derivative of the second. So we're going to copy down e to the negative 2t power. And then, of course, since the power of e is not just t, it's negative 2t, we also have to multiply by the derivative of the exponent. So we're going to multiply by negative 2. So there's the derivative of the second, plus the second as is, times the derivative of the first. So this time we have t to the 1/2 power. So we're going to use the power rule. So that would be 1/2 times t, reduce the power by 1, so we get negative 1/2. Alright, we clean this up a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and bring the negative 2 out to the front, since that's the monomial factors. Go ahead and bring that constant out to the front, so that gives me negative 2 times t to the 1/2 power, and then times e to the negative 2t power. So there's our first term. And then the second term, we're going to say plus, I'm going to go ahead and bring that 1/2 out to the front, t to the negative 1/2 power, and then we'll write e to the negative 2t at the back. So we have our two terms here. We could potentially simplify a little more, or at least change the way it's written a little bit, but I'm going to choose to leave it as is.